And then you're thinking of ideas for routines, but they're not. They're routines that would be great for whoever you watch, but not for you.
Have you seen Nate Bargatze? Bargatze special, The Tennessee Kid on Netflix. I've been doing stand-up 17 years when I watched that. He's my age. It's not like I'm young and he's more experienced.
Yeah.
And for a month, I could feel myself doing it, going, talk like you talk, Dan.
Yeah.
There's something about that special. I loved it. He doesn't swear, and he's one of those comics that on purpose doesn't deliver it very polished.
Yeah.
You know, like, there's that style, like Chris Rock is super polished.
Yeah.
He uses...
It's like word for word.
He uses like almost PowerPoint words.
Yeah.
Like he will repeat the premise a few times. And then the other style, there's like that Acaster, like nervous on purpose almost.
Yeah.
And Nate Bargatze does a little bit of that. Almost doesn't know his script on purpose. And that's so not my style. For a whole fucking month, I was like, what are you doing? And it's just because it got in my
But I think I feel like that's the sign of a great comedian when they've got such a distinctive style that you can think of an idea and go, oh, that feels like a
thingy bit,
a Louis C.K. idea, or
that's
a bad example.
your hero. Yeah.
Stay there, love.
Yeah.
I think I've told you this before off pod. I had to stop doing a routine because of Nate Bargatze. So weirdly, someone introduced me to it. It was probably Freddie. Like most of the American comedians that I don't know yet, and like John Mulaney, Freddie Quinn was like, you need to watch this guy. And I went on YouTube and found a Nate Bargatze routine that he did on like a late night show. It might have been like Conan or something. And it's almost word for word one of my routines. So I did a routine for a bit about the Insanity training program. And it was like, they show you the before and the after photo. And I'm like, mate, how do I get your before? I'd
be happy with the before.
That'll do me.
I've seen him do that bit. Yeah, I haven't even remembered that. Yeah.
He does that, but with P90X.
Yeah.
And I seen it, and I was like, it's almost like one of us has nicked it off the other one. It's that ridiculously similar. I'd never heard of the lad, and I was like, this is fucking... And it's on... He's done it on Conan or whatever, and I just had to stop doing the bit because it's too similar.
Do you think that... Because I think that happens... Because people always... They jump to the conclusion that, like, so-and-so's stolen a routine, but... I see it happen quite a lot where two comics have got pretty similar bits.
This isn't like that. Like, I get that. I've seen that happen 1,000 times where two comics independently have gone, hey, I'm going to write a bit about walking the dog and, you know, what it's like to pick your shit. Like, a common thing
I've got a bit about walking the dog.
But there's certain comics you're like, you don't... when a joke is like, say, Gav Webster... or an act that's got a really specific style and way of thinking, they're the ones where you're like probably not going to have the same joke as that person. But if you're doing observational storytelling, there's a chance you're going to have overlap.
But if you'd have seen Nate Bargatze's routine and then seen me do mine, or vice versa, you'd have gone up to either me or him and gone, that's Adam's bit, or that's Nate's bit.
Yeah.
It's so strikingly the same.
Wow.
Like... And look,
he's still pissed off about it as well.
Comics are definitely guilty. And I've definitely done it before where I've got a new idea for a bit about this, and I do it, and Danny McLaughlin will go, Joe's got a really similar bit to that. This guy, and I go, I remember I worked with him 9 months ago, and it's probably gone in and I've forgot about it.
Yeah.
That happens, and you just stop doing it because you've been sort of inspired to a bad extent. But I didn't know who Nate was, never heard of him. And it was just...
Oh, mate, go and watch Nate
Bargatze. Really
I've never heard of him.
Tennessee Kid, really well done.
I used to do a routine about gout, and I remember
you're gutted when someone goes, mate, so-and-so's got a great gout bit.
But a lot of people then started saying to me that John Robbins has got a famous gout story. I was like, yeah, but we can both have talk about gout. It's not like we're not doing the same joke.
Yeah, that.
But it used to happen almost every gig I'd do it. Another comic would go, oh, just so you know, John Robbins has got a gout bit.
Yeah, I saw a comedian at the Frog years ago. He'd written a whole bit about Alanis Morissette's song, Ironic. The joke was, it's not ironic, is it? And he broke it down. He did the whole bit. It got laughs. And then he came off and went, yeah, I think that went pretty well. That's my new bit. And everyone was like, what, Ed Burns' most favourite bit of comedy? And he was like, and you know when you can judge the reaction?
Yeah.
Like but like humans are very perceptive about when you can call bullshit. He was so clearly gutted because he'd spent fucking ages writing it all out. And then we'd all gone, yeah, Ed Byrne got famous off that bit in the late 90s. Idiot.
Yeah.
And he was good, and he just had to never, ever do it again.
But he hadn't robbed it or seen it.
I could tell the way he did it so badly on stage that if he'd nicked it, it would have been better. Yeah. But he was getting laughs because it's a funny premise.
Yeah.
But it was the way he reacted. He went, "Oh, you're kidding." Oh, fuck. I was like, yeah, there's a man who's just wasted
but there's a lot
3 days of writing and practicing.
It happens quite regularly with like big A-list comics where they get accused of stealing routines. And I reckon, because a lot of those big, without naming names, a lot of those big comedians that have writers that work with them.
Yeah.
And it might be that one of their writers has seen it. It's gone into the back of their head. They've then pitched it to the guy. He's now doing it completely unaware that it's come from one of his writers who saw it from an open spot comic.
Yeah. Also, they're touring with themselves, aren't they? Once you get off the circuit,
they don't know what's going on. Yeah.
So comics who are doing hour and a half, they write their hour and a half. When are they watching? Like, we're constantly, if you're on the circuit, you're constantly watching all different. You'll work with hundreds of acts a year.
I've got to say
touring
something,
guys.
I do think that there's got to be some cunty writers though who are like, I've got to write for fucking, I don't know, I've got to write for fucking Ahmed Jalili, so I'm gonna just go down a comedy club, write down my favourite bits, and Ahmed will never know. Yeah. And Ahmed's fans will just think that there's definitely cunty writers who are going to comedy clubs and shystering.
And then Ahmed's got 10 minutes on the insanity routine.
About living with his nan.
Yeah.
I'd like to think it, because obviously we've all got aspirations to get bigger and bigger as a comic and do big tours and
I
stuff.
don't. I'm done.
Is this you?
Yeah.
Once you've won the
Comedian
of the Year, New Comedian of the Year 2017.
He just wants to do new material on Wednesdays, a top secret in London.
With a cap on.
I'd never.
Happily, just covered in fucking brick dust.
I don't think I'd ever get writers for me stand-up. I don't like...
I'd quite like having some plastic cut boys around me. Was that what Kevin Hart calls his crew?
Yes, mate. He does.
Boys? Yeah,
he fucking does.
He's got about 8 guys who he travels with.
He's just got his mates.
You must have heard of this, the Plastic Cup Boys.
No, I haven't.
He's got about 8 mates of his that are all old school friends, and they just travel around and they all write for him and open for him. I went to see him do his Netflix special at the O2, and he had about 9 support acts before.
He really does. He gets all the Plastic Cup Boys out, and the crowd are humoured for the first Plastic Cup Boy, and by the second one, they're like,
see it?
"Yeah, we went to."
He does a stand-up routine about going to see Kevin Hart,
and about the compare.
Have I now stolen your routine?
No,
sorry, one of my writers gave me that. I must have got it from you.
I retold the story of going to watch it, but it wasn't. Right. I really wasn't talking about Kevin Hart. I was talking about the compare.
Yeah,
because the compare,
he's called Spank. Spank Horton is his
name.
Love
it. He was particularly painful to watch because I knew what he was doing. He had a tricky job on his hand.
Yeah.
He also, what I found really difficult is I've never heard so many warnings about filming a gig.
Oh yeah,
it was unbelievable from the moment you sat down.
Hostile, wasn't it?
It was hostile, but on the 5th warning, I was like, wow, they are really getting this across that you cannot film the show.
If they care that much,
why not? He must have said it 30 times.
Why not do that thing that all the Americans do where they put your phone in a pouch? Why not do that thing?
I think this was the one you went to was pre-pouches because they're only about 2 or 3 years old, aren't they?
This is 2016, 2015 maybe that I went.
The other thing I found weird about going to watch it is because they were shooting it for Netflix. Before Kevin Hart even came on stage, the warm-up guy was telling the crowd, they were getting shots of the crowd laughing. So he was like, what we need you to do now is laugh as if you've heard the funniest joke ever and we'll get shots of the crowd. And that might work in America, but in England, in London, everyone was like, well, we'll laugh when you say something funny. We're not just going to laugh.
We paid 60 fucking quid to be here.
But genuinely, the atmosphere in the arena started to turn a bit where I could hear people shouting out, where the fuck's Kevin? It started to, if it had gone on much longer, it would have got a bit tense because people were like, what the fuck's this?
Those Paper Cup Boys, I think there was 3 sets.
Yeah.
And it was, including the compare, we thought we turned up late. It was an 8 o'clock start. We got in there at 10 to 8. Yeah. He only went on at about 9, 10 past 9. So there was over an hour of his support acts.
Yeah.
and one of them was pretty good. The one before Kevin Hart, I would say
main support.
He could have.
Yeah,
but he was just like. But the first two, I was like, this is just objectively. I've come to enjoy myself. Pretty poor comedy, and it was getting titters. It was getting laughs. But if I'm honest, the guy before Kevin Hart was better than Kevin Hart the night I saw him.
I remember that guy, yeah.
And then Laura was like, well, why? He was quite good. Why do you think he was better? And I was like, because he's doing his best comedy ever. If they started out together, him and Kevin Hart, which I guess they're his mates from when they started out in comedy.
Yeah.
That's 20 years of set. So that's his best material in 20 years. Kevin Hart's doing his 5th special at that point or whatever.
Yeah.
So he's on his 5th hour and it showed.
Yeah.
Like,
where did you see it? Manchester,
the MEN, yeah.
And you went in.
I went to the O2 one.
Have you played the O2? Because I know
I was the Spank Quarter.
Because I know you've done some big tour supports, haven't you?
I did. I've done a couple of tours with Jack Whitehall where I've been the support act, and they've been in arenas. So we've done.
Hi, Jack. Would you like to come on the podcast? You're welcome on the couch anytime, mate.
Jack would be terrified in here.
Would he?
Yeah, I think you. Jack's quite shy, actually. I think you would scare him.
That's so funny.
Yeah.
Now I want him in more than ever.
He'll come in.